You ever wonder what legacy sounds like when it starts its engine? Welcome to the AV8R School Legacy Series, where skill meets purpose and purpose takes.
Okay, beautiful. Now we're entering chapter 6 for ground operation and servicing. We're gonna have a total of 41 questions in this section. It's gonna be divided into 4 even parts. All right, so let's get started. Ground operation and servicing is question 1. Shut the engine down. Shut the engine down. Shut the engine down. During the starting of a turbine power plant, when using compressed air starter, a hung start occurred. Select the proper procedure. You shut it down. Shut the engine down. All right. Number 2, the starter cutting off too soon. The starter is cutting off too soon. The starter is cutting off too soon. A hung start in a jet engine is often caused by the starter cutting off too soon. The starter cutting off too soon. A hung start on a jet engine is caused by the starter cutting off too soon. Number 3, steerable nose wheel. The torque link lock should be set to full swivel. Steerable nose wheel. The torque link lock should be set to a full swivel. So the statement that is true below reflects a typical requirement when towing some aircrafts. The steerable nose wheel torque links should be set to full swivel. Should be set to full swivel. Number 4. Which statement is true regarding tie downs for small aircraft? The second one is the only one that is true. Nylon or Dacron ropes is preferred to the manila ropes. Nylon or a Dacron rope is preferred over to a manila rope. Okay? Nylon or Dacron rope is preferred over a manila rope. Number 5, 25 feet. 25 feet. When approaching an engine from an idling jet engine, the hazardous area extends forward of the engine approximately 25 feet. 25 feet. When an aircraft is idling and you're approaching it, you want to stay a good 25 feet away from the engine. 25 feet. 25 feet. Number 6, carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide. Which of the following is most satisfactory extinguishing agent for use on a carburetor or an intake fire? Carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide. Which is more satisfactory extinguishing agent to use on a carburetor or an intake fire? Using carbon dioxide. Number 7. Figure 50, identify the signal to engage a rotorcraft. Engage a rotorcraft. So you're engaging it and you use figure 3. Okay, you point to it and you tell them go ahead and start spinning. So the third one is you're engaging the rotorcraft. Okay. Number 8, check for hydraulic lock. Check for hydraulic lock. If a radial engine has been shut down for more than 30 minutes, the propellers should rotate through at least 2 revolutions. Why? Because you want to check for a hydraulic lock. Check for hydraulic lock. You spin the propellers, make sure that they go all the way over at least a couple times for checking for a hydraulic lock. Number 9, full rich position. Full rich position. The priming of a fuel injected horizontally opposed engine is accomplished by placing the fuel control lever in the full rich position. Full rich position. The priming of a fuel injected horizontally opposed engine is accomplished by placing the fuel lever in the full rich position. Number 10, EGT, TIT, and ITT. EGT, TIT, and I or ITT. So the most important conditions to be monitored during any engine start after fuel flow begins in a turbine engine, you're looking for EGT, you're looking for the ITT, and you're definitely looking for TIT. Okay? EGT, TIT, ITT. EGT, TIT, and ITT. All right, take your first quiz, and I'll see you soon.
Break. This message is for anyone ready to level up. AV8R School, pronounced Aviator School, is now building our next wave of future mechanics and aviation leaders. If you want in, send me a DM right now. I'll walk.
Number 11, hot start. Hot start. Hot start. Which of the following conditions has the most potential for causing engine damage when starting or attempting to start a turbine engine? It's a hot start. Hot start. Hot start. Number 12. Crank the engine with the starter or by hand with the mixture control in cutoff, ignition switches off, and the throttle fully open until the fuel charge has been cleared. Once again, crank the engine with the starter by hand with the mixture control in cutoff, ignition switch off, and throttle fully open until the fuel charge has been cleared. How is flooded engines equipped with a float type carburetor cleared of excessive fuel? Crank the engine with the starter or by hand with the mixture control in cutoff, ignition switch off, and the throttle fully open until the fuel charge has been cleared. Okay? Number 13. Okay? Which marshalling signal should be given if a taxiing aircraft is in imminent danger of striking an object? You're going to tell them to stop. 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 Get in front of them and tell them to stop. Okay? That's exactly what that's saying. If the aircraft is in danger of hitting anything, you're going to tell them to stop. Go, okay? It's the universal signal. Hey, stop. Okay? Number 14, continue cranking and start the engine if possible. Continue cranking and start the engine if possible. So generally, when an induction fire occurs during starting of a reciprocating engine, the first course of action should be continue. Just keep going. Keep starting, keep cranking. The engine will turn on and it'll cut out that fire. Generally, when induction fire occurs during starting of a reciprocating engine, the first course of action should always be to continue cranking and start the engine if possible. Continue cranking and start the engine if possible. Number 15, continue cranking the engine and blow out the fire. Continue cranking the engine and blow out the fire. If an engine fire develops during starting procedures, the first step you should take is to extinguish the fire is continue cranking the engine and let the engine blow out the fire. Continue cranking the engine and let the engine blow out the fire. Okay? Crank the engine, continue cranking it, and the engine will blow it out. Number 16, for engine cooling purposes, when starting and ground operating an aircraft's engine, the aircraft should be positioned to the head into the wind primarily for engine cooling purposes. Engine cooling purposes. When starting and ground operating an aircraft's engine, the aircraft should be positioned within, headway with the wind primarily for engine cooling purposes. Engine cooling purposes. Number 17, 100 feet. 100 feet. When approaching the rear of an idling turbojet or turbofan engine, the hazard area extends aft of the engine approximately 100 feet. 100 feet. 100 feet. So the danger area in front is 25. Remember that one? Well, in the back, it's 100 feet. Danger area for the back of the engine is 100 feet. Number 18, the fuel-air mixture was excessively rich. Fuel-air mixture was excessively rich. If a hot start occurs during starting of a turbine power plant, what is likely to cause? A fuel-air mixture was excessively rich. The fuel-air mixture was excessively rich. Ground operation servicing number 19. Tetraethyl lead in the gasoline forms deposits in turbine blades. The tetraethyl lead in the gasoline forms deposits on turbine blades. Tetraethyl lead in the gasoline forms deposits on turbine blades. What effect, if any, will aviation gasoline mixed with jet fuel on a turbine engine? The tetraethyl lead in the gasoline forms deposits on turbine blades. Number 20. Only the first one is true, huh? So, jet fuel is higher viscosity than aviation gasoline, therefore holds contaminants more readily. Jet fuel is of higher viscosity than aviation gasoline, and therefore it holds contaminants more readily. Okay? So only the first one is true. Jet fuel is of higher viscosity than aviation gasoline, and it holds more contaminants more readily. All right, take another quiz, and I'll see you soon.
Break. This message is for anyone ready to level up. AV8R School, pronounced Aviator School, is now building our next wave of future mechanics and aviation leaders. If you want in, send me a DM right now. I'll walk.
Number 21. A person should be in the cockpit to operate the brakes. A person should be in the cockpit to operate the brakes. A person should be in the cockpit to operate the brakes. When towing a very large aircraft, a person should be in the cockpit to operate the brakes. A person should be in the cockpit to operate the brakes. When towing an airplane, a large airplane, a person should always be in the cockpit to operate brakes. Number 22, a tailwheel typed airplane in a directional crosswind. A tailwheel type airplane in directional crosswind. So weather vaning tendency is greatest when taxiing a tailwind airplane in direct crosswind. Weather vaning tendency is greatest when taxiing a tailwind airplane in directional crosswind. Okay. Number 23, upwind aileron should be held in the down position. Upwind aileron should be held in the down position. When taxiing an airplane with a quartering tailwind, the elevators and upwind aileron should be held in the down position. When taxiing an airplane with quartering tailwind, the elevators and the upwind aileron should be held in the down position. Number 24, move clear of the runway and taxiway immediately. Move clear of the runway and taxiway immediately. When taxiing or towing an aircraft, a flashing red light comes from the controller tower. That means get the hell out of the way. Move clear of the runway and taxiway immediately. Move clear of the runway or taxiway immediately. When you see a flashing red light come from the control tower, telling you, get out the way. Move. All right. Number 25, the tail rotor. The tail rotor. A person should approach or leave a helicopter's field of vision whenever the engine is running in order to avoid the tail rotor. A person should approach or leave a helicopter in the pilot's field position in order to avoid the tail rotor. The tail rotor. the tail rotor. Number 26, return to a starting point. Return to a starting point. Return to a starting point. So when you're taxiing or towing an aircraft and a flashing white light from the control tower means go back. Okay, if you see the control tower, you're taxiing the plane, you're marshaling the plane, and you see the control tower flash you a white light, it says go back where you started from. Go back. If it's red, what do? Get out the way. White, go back to where you started. All right? Real simple. Return to a starting point. Number 27, okay to proceed but use caution. Okay to proceed but use caution. When taxiing an aircraft, alternating red and green lights from control tower. Red and green. So it goes red, green, red, green, red, green, red, green means go ahead, proceed, but use caution. Go ahead and proceed, but use caution. Red, green, red, green, red, green. Go ahead and proceed, but use caution. White, go back, right? White light, go back. Red light, get out the way. Red, green, go ahead, but be careful, okay? Number 28, pointed straight ahead. Pointed straight ahead. When stopping a nose wheels type airplane after taxiing, the nose wheel should always be left pointing straight ahead, okay? Sometimes when you're taxiing and you're turning into a position, you have a tendency to leave it or stop it with the nose wheel kind of cocked to one side or the other. Get used to always keeping it right in the middle. Real easy. Pointed straight ahead. Just keep the rotor pedals even. The nose wheel should always be straight and forward. All right. Number 29, test the brakes. Test the brakes. Test the brakes. When first starting to move an aircraft while taxiing, the first and most important thing you do is test the brakes. So you're ready to taxi, you're ready to move on, you got clearance from the tower, right? First thing you do, you take your brake off, you take your emergency brake off, you take it off, and then you let go. Airplane should start rolling, right? First thing you do, boom, hit your brakes immediately, because that way you know if they're working. That way you know you can stop. All right, it's a lot easier to stop an airplane when it's starting to get momentum than when it already has momentum. All right, so you test the brakes before you start taxiing. Ground operation and servicing, question number 30. The color of 100 low lead fuel is blue. Blue. The color of 100 low lead fuel is blue. All right, everybody, let's go ahead and move on. Take a quick quiz, and I'll see you soon.
Break. This message is for anyone ready to level up. AV8R School, pronounced Aviator School, is now building our next wave of future mechanics and aviation leaders. If you want in, send me a DM right now. I'll walk.
Ground operations and servicing number 31. By performance numbers. By performance numbers. By performance numbers. How are aviation fuels which possess greater anti-knock quantities than 100 octane classified? By performance numbers. By performance numbers. By performance numbers. How are aviation fuels which possess greater anti-knock qualities than 100 octane classified? By performance numbers. Number 32, to scavenge lead oxide from the cylinder combustion chambers. To scavenge lead oxide from the cylinder's combustion chambers. To scavenge lead oxide from the cylinder combustion chambers. Why is ethylene dibromide added to aviation gasoline? To scavenge lead oxide from the cylinder combustion chambers. Why is ethylene dibromide added to aviation gasoline? To scavenge lead oxide from the cylinder combustion chambers. Number 33, kerosene has a higher heat energy value per unit volume than gasoline. Kerosene has a higher heat energy over value per unit volume than gasoline. Both gasoline and kerosene have certain advantages for use as turbine fuel. Which statement is true referencing the advantage of each? Well, kerosene has a higher heat energy value per unit volume than gasoline. Kerosene has a higher heat energy value per unit volume than gasoline. Number 34, an absorption of heat. An absorption of heat. An absorption of heat. What must accompany fuel vaporization? It's an absorption of heat. Absorption of heat. An absorption of heat. Number 35, rapid rise in cylinder pressure, excessive cylinder heat temperature, and decrease in engine power. Rapid rise in cylinder pressure, excessive cylinder head temperature, and decrease in engine power. A rapid rise in cylinder pressure, excessive cylinder head pressure, and a decrease in engine power. What are the characteristics of detonation? Well, it's a rapid rise in cylinder pressure, excessive cylinder head temperature, and a decrease in engine power. Number 36, vapor lock. Vapor lock. A fuel that vaporizes too readily may cause vapor lock. Vapor lock. A fuel that vaporizes too readily may cause vapor lock. Number 37, type numbers have no relation to the fuel's performance in the aircraft engine. Type numbers have no relation to the fuel's performance in the aircraft engine. A jet fuel number identifiers are type numbers and have no relation to the fuel's performance in aircraft engine. Number 38, lead content and color. Lead content and color. The main differences between grades 100 and 100 low lead fuels are lead content and color. Lead content and color. Number 39, high heat value, high volatility. High heat value, high volatility. High heat value, high volatility. Characteristics of aviation gasolines are high heat value and high volatility. High heat value and high volatility. Number 40, improve the gasoline's performance in the engine. Improve the gasoline's performance in the engine. Improve the gasoline's performance in the engine. Terreathyl lead is added to aviation gasoline to improve the gasoline's performance in the engine. Number 41, hard starting. Hard starting. The fuel that does not vaporize readily enough can cause a hard start or hard starting. Hard starting. Fuel that does not vaporize readily enough can cause hard starting. All right, guys, take a quick quiz and I'll see you soon.
Thank you for watching. If you liked what you heard, leave a comment. And if you didn't like it, leave a comment. Either way, I want to hear from you. I promise I will answer every comment.